Okay, we all know chess, right? A classic game of strategy, memory, and deep thinking. But what if we took that board and completely flipped it on its head? Today, we're going to dive into how a pretty radical reinvention of this ancient game might just be one of the best ways to train your brain for a world that, let's be honest, never stops changing.
Just think about that for a second. Seriously, what if a game wasn't just a way to pass the time, but was actually a tool? A tool that could literally rewire your neural pathways, making you more creative, more adaptable? That's the powerful, fascinating idea we're digging into.
So how do you even begin to do that? Well, the answer starts with a really powerful concept from cognitive science. It's all about learning how to engineer a very specific and very powerful mental state. We're talking about flow.
You know that feeling, right? When you're so totally absorbed in what you're doing that the rest of the world just fades away, you lose all track of time. That feeling of being in the zone, well, it's not just a random mood. It's a very real psychological state that the researcher Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying and named flow.
But here's the thing. This peak performance state, it doesn't just happen by accident. It's triggered by some very specific conditions. For starters, you need a super clear goal. You have to know exactly what you're trying to do. You also need instant feedback so you can adjust your strategy on the fly. And this next one is absolutely crucial. You need that perfect razor's edge balance between how hard the task is and how good you are at it. Not so easy that you get bored, but not so hard that you just get frustrated and quit.
And this is where a really fascinating system comes into the picture. It's called chess reverse. Now, this thing was developed over 2 decades, and it wasn't just meant to be another chess variation. Nope. It was engineered from the ground up specifically to be an engine for creating that state of flow. You could almost think of it as a piece of deliberate cognitive architecture.
Okay, so how does it do it? How does it actually work? Let's break down what makes this thing a total revolution on the chessboard. So, on one hand, you've got classic chess. Thanks to some foundational research from guys like Chase and Simon, we know it thrives in a stable environment. It's a game that really rewards memory, pattern recognition, what psychologists call crystallized intelligence. But chess reverse, it flips that script completely. It creates this dynamic, unpredictable environment that forces you, move by move, to adapt and solve totally new problems. It's a workout for your fluid intelligence.
And here's how it pulls off that radical shift. It's all down to 2 core mechanics. First, you've got reversible pieces. When you capture an opponent's piece, it doesn't just vanish. It actually flips over and becomes your piece. Imagine that. The entire balance of power can swing in a single move. And second, there's the reserve. Captured pieces can be dropped back onto the board later on. All of a sudden, a capture isn't the end of a piece, it's a new strategic resource, creating this almost infinite landscape of possibilities.
So let's go a little deeper into the science behind that. This difference between memory and fluid thinking is absolutely key to understanding what's going on here.
Okay, so crystallized intelligence, or GIC, the easiest way to think about this is like a massive library inside your brain. It's where you store everything you've ever learned and memorized, all the facts, the skills, the patterns. For a classic chess master, researchers like Gobet and Simon found that this library is huge, filled with thousands of chunks or board positions they can recognize in an instant. But fluid intelligence, or GF, that's a whole different animal. As thinkers like Sternberg and Kaufman have shown, this isn't about what you know. It's about how you think. It's your brain's internal navigator. It's your ability to reason, to think on your feet, and to solve completely new problems when your mental library comes up empty. And this is the real genius of chess reverse. The constant flipping of pieces, the reintroduction from the reserve, it makes that giant library of memorized patterns pretty much useless. The game is designed to short-circuit your reliance on that crystallized knowledge and force you to use your fluid intelligence, that GF navigator, on every single move.
And it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing either. It's actually a structured cognitive ladder. You can start with good old classic chess, then level up to reverse, where the piece flipping is mandatory. Then you can add wave, which brings in the reserve. Each step up the ladder, all the way to something called infinity speed, is designed to systematically increase the cognitive load. It's how the game makes sure you can always find that perfect flow state, that sweet spot between challenge and skill.
So you might be asking, what's the big deal? Why does this matter beyond the 64 squares? Well, the real power here is that this isn't just about a game. It's a full-on creative gym for your brain.
By constantly forcing you out of your comfortable memorized patterns, the game acts like a workout for some really critical mental muscles. We're talking about things like abstract reasoning, cognitive flexibility,
your ability to switch strategies in a heartbeat, and complex working memory just to keep track of everything. It even trains inhibition control, which is your ability to stop yourself from making that automatic knee-jerk move that would have been great in classic chess, but is a disaster here.
And you want to know what the ultimate workout in this mental gym is? It's a version called Nexus Ether. Get this, the rules of the game can literally shift and change while you're playing. Oh, and it's played entirely in your mind. No board, it's just a pure, raw test of fluid intelligence and your powers of concentration.
You know, I think this quote from the source material really says it best. A veritable gymnasium for the mind, offering the cognitive tools needed to navigate uncertainty with creativity and excellence. It's not just about playing a game. It's about building the mental muscles you need to thrive in a complex world.
And that really brings us right back to the beginning. We live in a world where the old, memorized answers and the comfortable patterns are becoming less and less useful. The future, it seems, belongs to those who can adapt, who can create, the ones who are fluid thinkers. So the question I want to leave you with is this: how are you going to train your fluid intelligence?